Good morning, everyone. This is passage 16, the secession of the plebs. Primis temporibus rei publicae. In the early times, there was magna dissentio, or a great argument arose over the freedom of the republic. So, in the early times, a great argument arose over the freedom of the republic. I was just checking the agreements of the Republicae and the Liberi. So the Liberi definitely agree with the Republic. In the early times, a great argument arose over the freedom of the Republic. Orta est deponent verb. Inter pares, between, a great argument arose between the patres. Remember, pater here meaning father, or does not mean father here, rather, it means senators. Between the senators and the plebem and the plebeians on account of ice. And then we've got there on account of another's money or another's bronze, which means debt, which I did not know, on account of debt. Quo pane, by which almost all of the plebeian people, premebantor, were being overawed, I suppose, were being pressed, were being damaged. Creditori, for it was allowed for a creditor to ducere, to lead a debtor even into servitude. So, again, debt, much like I suppose problems that we've got nowadays, or Dickensian Victorian England, a huge problem. Praeterea. Furthermore, laws were being carried out, or were being, what do we want to say there, were being rendered by the consuls. This so here a connected relative, this office was only available, was only line open to senators, to patribus. Cum jam plebs. When the plebeians were postularent, were demanding help from their consuls, the Latin equites announced, the Latin cavalrymen announced that the Volsci were coming. Indirect statement here. I haven't been highlighting things, my apologies. That the Volsci were venire, were coming, that's a nice colour, let's make it red, that the Volsci were coming ad orbem, literally for the city to be attacked. It is passive, therefore it is a gerundive. Notice the am ending, meaning that it has to be a gerundive. Plebs, the plebeians, exultabat, were exulting, I suppose we could say, were leaping up in joy, atque, and they were hortarbantur, and they were encouraging one another, ne nomina, not to volunteer their names, not to register their names, i.e. put down their names for combat, and not to enroll as troops, as the notes say. At unus, but one of the consuls, plebe convocata, notice the ablative absolute ending, having called together the plebeian body, having called together the plebeians. Polycutus est, deponent verb, promised, look for an indirect statement, look for accusative infinitive, promised to intermettere, to hold off the judicia, the judgments, the law courts, the trials. The trials is good here. Quo ad, as long as they were soldiers in the camp. Semicolon. Remember here, though, the indirect statement can go beyond the semicolon, and that after the war had finished, ablative absolute, senatum, that the Senate was going to consult, future infinitive, that the Senate would consult with the plebeians. Eo modo, by that method, he persuaded the plebeians to give their names. The Volsci and the other neighbouring peoples, victi sunt, perfect passive, were defeated. Postea. However, afterwards, jus, the laws for de creditis punis. However, afterwards, the laws for indebted money, I suppose you could say. However, afterwards, the laws for, what do we want to say there? For creditis, for credited money, for borrowed money. However, afterwards, the laws for borrowed money justice for borrowed money was, dictum est, was carried out cruelly und ante, as before. Perfect passive verb there. Dictum est. Tandem, at last, the plebeian people, cum exercitus, when the army, alio, another ablative absolute, when another war had started, when the army, after another war had started, was in combat, desperato, having despaired, another ablative absolute, of the help of the consuls and of the Senate, they withdrew into the Sacrum Montem, onto the Sacred Mount, which was a hill just outside Rome. Hic Mons, this mountain was across the river. This mountain was across the river Anio, the Anio River, 3,000 paces, i.e. 3 miles from the city. Patres, the senators, arbitrati, perfect active participle, having judged, as soon as I see having judged, I'm looking for an indirect statement, having judged that there was no hope except in the Concordia, having judged that there was no hope remaining, there to be no hope remaining except in the Concordia, except in an agreement of the citizens, except in a, what do I want to say? Except in an agreement of the citizens, can't think of anything else, sent Menenius Agrippa to the plebeian people, himself a plebeian, and dear to the plebeians. Very well done, everyone. I look forward to seeing you when you return from your wonderful, exciting exams.